I think we're going to get started. Okay, did anybody come the last time we were here? Oh, good, okay. Okay, well, you know, things have gone a little worse for bats now, and like everything else in the world. And so I'm hoping that maybe if we all find an interest in bats, that maybe we could reach out in the community and begin to give some programs about the education of bats so that we can spread the good word. So, anyways, I'll try to talk slow and without an accent, which will be really hard not to have an accent. Anyways, my name is Barbara O'Dad, and I am indeed the Bat Lady. I live in Boston, and I'm out here to educate people about bats, because bats get such a bad rap. And that's all through the movie industry and a lot of stories that are passed down. So I'm going to show some slides. I'm going to show some props. And then after the program, everybody's free to come up and just read my props and, you know, have a giggle or two, and that'll be really good. So, okay, so Scott is my right-hand man. Yeah. And so we're going to start off with the first slide. Okay, it's a cartoon, which myths are cartoons somewhat. Have you ever heard blind as a bat? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to tell you that bats have better eyesight than we do. But, you know, when you're going to fly in pitch blackness, you need more than good eyesight. So, bats use echolocation, which is kind of a sound thing that tells bats everything that's going on so they don't crash into trees or crash into each other. So that is one myth that right away everybody thought bats might be blind. Well, it's kind of crazy because they're really well sighted. So the second one is that bats like to fly into women's hair.
So that's actually one of the.
Oh no, have you ever heard that one? Okay, so here's the story behind why people thought that bats like to nest in women's hair. Okay, at nighttime, we breathe out carbon dioxide, and that's how bugs find us, the bugs that want to bite us. They detect that carbon dioxide. So here, they're flying all around us, these bugs that want to bite us, and we don't even know it because not all bugs make sounds. And so the bats are out there, and they're looking for a meal. So they're seeing, wow, what's standing right there with all those bugs around it? Hey, that's dinner. So here they come, zing, zing, zing. Well, they're not really attacking you. They're attacking the bugs that want to attack you. So there's a myth about that sometimes overcautious fathers wanted to keep their teenage daughters home at night. So they told them this story, that the bats were out to get them. And people pass these kind of stories down. So, anyways, bats are not aggressive. They don't attack us. So, this is another myth, that bats always bruised in women's hair. Well, you know, that's kind of a joke. Okay, and then it's got the next one. No, that went too far. Okay, so blind is bad, blind in women's hair. Okay, all right. And then one that everybody believes because of the movie industry is that all bats are vampires. Well, here's the truth. There's 1,400 species of bats all over the world. 70% eat nothing but insects. The rest eat diversity, like some eat fish and others eat frogs. And 3 species in the world are vampires. So, and vampires, you know, not all bats are vampires, but all vampires are bats, except the guy in the corner. Yeah. So he got really popular, and everybody loves to think about Count Dracula. But nobody becomes a bat when they get in the coffin. So that's another myth. So, you know, aren't those little vampire bats kind of cute? Yeah, in spite of everything. Well, vampire bats, of course, are known to have very sharp teeth because that's how they get their diet. Vampire bats only eat blood. And it's only probably about 2 tablespoons with each meal. But I want to tell you some really good things about vampires before we move on. Vampires have an anticoagulant in their saliva, which means when they bite any animal or person, it means that the blood doesn't clot. So the blood flows freely and just, you know, it gives them a perfect diet. But 2 tablespoons, that's not too bad to donate. But I'm telling you, you are the last choice. If you go anywhere where vampires live, you're definitely the last choice. They have to run out of cows and birds in order to feed on you. So don't party on the beach and fall asleep. Yeah, because you might become a diet then, but they don't seek us out like the movies would like you to think. And so that's, right now, the vampire bats, they're being good in research for medical people that make blood clots. There's now a formula that the scientists have created for people to take that so they don't make blood clots. So this bat is very involved with medical research. Okay, so sometimes bats are depict as being rodents. And did you ever think it was like a flying mouse? No. Well, a lot of people do, and they think that bats are related to rodents. But, you know, the truth is that they're in a family all their own, and it makes up 1/4 of all mammal species on Earth. So it's called Chiroptera, and that's the Greek for meaning hand wing. And then the bats are divided into 2 categories, and that would be micros, which eat all of the micros eat all the insects and small mammals, blood, nectar, and frogs and fish. But the megas and flying foxes are mostly pollinators and eat nectar and things like that. So anyways, that's how we're divided. And you'll see that most bats have really good-looking faces. But we don't get to see that much because the bats fly at night. And who can see anything at night? Not us. So. Okay, so bats are very, very important in the ecosystem because not only do they pollinate a lot of plants, 250 products that we use in the United States, but they also eat a lot of fruit, and then as they're flying, they do poop and spread those seeds all over the rainforest. Thus grows new plants. So they're not only pollinators, but they're seed dispersers. And you can see all of these plants are very responsible by the, I mean, they owe their wait, I'm groping for a word here. They're replenishing new plants due to these bats. The one on the end is probably the most important because when I tell people when they don't like bats and they're afraid of bats, here's a reason to love them. They pollinate the agave plant. Whoa. Every time you have a tequila, you should be kissing a bat.
Or a banana.
Or a banana, or a cashew. You know, it just goes on and on what they pollinate. But it's very important because, you know, the agave plant is very sensitive, and it's sometimes called the century plant because it takes forever to produce a bloom. And once it produces a bloom, it makes seeds and promptly dies. So in Mexico, it's a real problem right now, and everybody's fighting to save bats because of the agave plants. So now the compromise here is that half the agave plants will be harvested for what they want, and then the other half will be kept for tequila. So this is making people kind of happy. But that plant is so slow in reproducing that first blossom that it's become quite a problem. Okay. So here's our insect eaters. They eat not only the bugs that we don't like, but they also eat agricultural pests. They save farmers billions of dollars on not using pesticides. And we profit by this, don't we? I mean, everybody gets crazy when bugs are taking, a lot of explosions and stuff. And yet, we keep putting pesticides out there. I'm going to tell you, when you bring home those groceries and you wash everything, a lot of times that chemical has permeated the skin of what you're washing. So here's the solution is, let's cut down on pesticides. And that, look what would profit, not only bats, but bees and all the other critters. So these are some of the things that you have to think about if we're going to protect the environment. Okay. So this is not really my program, as you can tell, but somebody else has put it together. But it's time now to talk about what slow reproduces bats are. A bat mom only has one pup a year. Slowest reproducer of all mammals. One pup. Well, when we look at a mouse, okay, it's sexually mature at 30 days, and every 30 days thereafter it has 6 or 8 little mice, and then it drops dead at 2 years old from exhaustion. Well, this little bat is sexually mature at 3 years old, has one pup a year, and it lives to be 25 to 30 years old. The longest living mammal for its body size. It has many unique factors like this. So we're talking about that, but now we're going to say a few things about bat sex. No kids in the audience? Yeah, let's go for it. Okay, so bat moms are promiscuous. At the end of the summer, a big come together with the males happens. It's called an orgy. Yeah. And the females are very promiscuous. So they mate with everybody, and then they all go to sleep in hibernation, and then they hold that sperm viable for 6 months. So when they wake up from the hibernation, they all ovulate at the same time. So they form maternity colonies. Safety in numbers. Males not allowed. So, I just read about a kind of a fun grant money was provided for this research. They found out that the more a male breeds, his testicles get bigger and his brain cells get smaller. We women have probably all known that already, right? Well, anyways, there's a very good reason for that, because if the females are promiscuous, the male sperm is fighting to be the sire. And so it would take a lot of reproduction activity to be the father. So this is how it all comes about. So here, if you ever find a bat on the ground, look at his testicles, you'll know that he was King Kong and that he had a little brain. So I think sometimes, and they give grant money for this. But anyways, males are the most well-endowed of all the mammal species, male bats. Oh, what? No, guys say no. Okay, that was just a little pertinent fact. But one baby a year, that's always chancy for the population. If you produce 5 or 6 every time, you have a good thing that maybe 2 will survive. But when you only produce them 1. So what the mom does, they all come together it's on a nursery. And then the moms all go out at night and eat their body weight in bugs to feed a baby that was just born 1/3 her body size. Equivalent to us giving birth to 40 pounders.
Oh my God.
Would that be a one-time episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And she does it every year. So anyways, yeah. So when they found these colonies, they might be in your attic because our bats love high temperatures. And a high temperature speeds the biological process of the pup. And so they fly faster and they're ready to be on their own. But anytime a male tries to get in that nursery, So they have no time of giving to any of the pups being raised. So, okay. So, what are some of the attributes of bats? One thing is that when we look at the bone structure, very much like us, 5 fingers, the thumb and 4 fingers, and when we get to the hips, the whole foot goes backwards. So the feet point that way, and the kneecaps are back there. But see, this is really cool because this means when you're hanging from a cave wall, all you have to do is drop down to take flight. And that's why when you find bats on the ground, they're not capable of taking flight straight up. No, they have to climb to something to get some elevation to take flight. So, when you look at them, their knees always go backwards. So that's kind of weird, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But think about us hanging upside down, curling our toes, and we would have to put our back to the wall, and how would we ever flip off? It works really good. And why do bats hang upside down? Well, they hang upside down because they get out of places that other animals can't go, so they have safe sleeping areas and away from predators. And there's a lot of room up on the top branches, or the branches that nobody else wants to go to. So that's where bats have found the best safety. So we have 14 species in our state, all insect eaters. They all do a really good job. We have 3 or 4 that stay east of the mountains, and they never come over here. But there's the ones that, like the spotted and the pallid, they eat a lot of bugs and things we don't like scorpions and centipedes and stuff like that, and they have some kind of a immunity to it. So what they do is they bite the stinger off, and then they gobble up the scorpion. So they're doing a really good service for us, as well as for the farmers. So I'm going to grab a drink of water.
Over here.
Oh yeah, I buried it. Yep. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so what's the perils for bats? Well, right now we know it's the white nose syndrome. This is a cold-loving fungus that we find in caves. And of course, a lot of bats are cave roosters. Other bats are tree roosters and house roosters and a lot of other places, but the cave bats are the ones that are being affected. Okay, on the East Coast, it's killed 7 million bats. The caves are empty. So when I go back there, everybody says to me, I've never seen so many bugs in my life. We can't even get out at night because the bugs are so bad. Well, we don't miss something like that until it's gone. And that's what they're suffering now. And so it has spread to our state. And luckily, a lot of our bats don't use caves. And we're thankful for that because the tree bats and the rocky bats that use rocks and stuff in cliffs, they actually don't, they're not affected. But anyways, we got 3 species now on the East Coast that are near extinction. And that would be tricolor, big eared, and the little brown. And people are finding that the populations are not coming back. But one thing we're finding, a little ray of hope, is that some of our bats are returning to the cave with scar tissue, meaning that they had it and survived it. And now when they reproduce, we're hoping they'll pass it on. But it's so deadly. Really deadly for our poor bats. And you can see what happens. The face gets fuzzy, the wings get fuzzy, and the tail. And that's the fungus. But actually what happens is it keeps waking the animal up out of the hibernation period. And then they become very, very hungry, and they're burning up the body fat that they needed to make the 6 months hibernation. And so they're starving to death. Because if they go flying, there's nothing out there to eat in the dead of winter. And so this is what's happening. And I've lost my man to push the button. Okay, so just one more thing that we're going to say. There's such a terrible myth about rabid bats. And every newspaper is really guilty of this. If they find one bat laying on the ground and it tests positive, oh gosh, it gets headlines. Bring the kids in, bring the dogs in, there's a rabid bat around. Well, this isn't true. And not only that, but our bats, when they do have rabies, promptly go down, become paralyzed, unable to fly, and promptly die. So, if you're crazy enough to go and pick up that animal laying there, dead, or you think it's dead, and turns out it's not dead, then maybe you deserve to have rabies. We tell everybody, don't pick bats up without gloves on. It's a simple thing. But this kid from the university, I couldn't believe this because here he's going to college and he does this stupid thing. He finds a bat laying on the ground, picks it up and takes it to the fraternity where he lives. Everybody else handles it. Oh, it's so cute. Pretty soon everybody, the girlfriends and everybody's coming in just to pet this bat and handle it. Everybody had to have rabies series. Yep. So it's such a simple thing. If you want to help a bat that's laying on the ground, like it might be just a pup that can't fly well yet, wear gloves. And bats are non-aggressive, and the only time you might get bit is if they think you are the enemy and you're going to eat them or something. Outside of that, bats, you will never get bit by a bat. So that's what we got to be sure of, because the stories about rabies, it makes everybody. I get more calls saying a bat just flew in the house. Should we all get our rabies shots? No, no. So that's kind of how it goes. Now, I like the fact that bats entertain us. Bracken's Cave in San Antonio, Texas, it housed 27 million bats. It takes hours and hours for that cave to empty. So every night, here's an audience. They've opened it to the public now. And the audience all comes to watch the immersion. And if you go to Austin, that bridge has 1.5 million bats under it. Mexican freetails. It's quite a spectacular thing when they all began to flood out, and then they're going over the agricultural fields, and it's estimated that 250,000 tons of bugs are eaten every night by this particular colony. I mean, who counts that? I don't know. But they come up with these figures, and the farmers agree. They love seeing these bats coming out and going over the fields. So, and then we always entertain people maybe by giving programs to really get you guys all hyped up about how important it is that we actually promote good sayings about bats. And then, of course, if you want bats in your yard, maybe put up a bat house. That's become kind of fun, and it's a wonderful learning process, because if you get that bat to use that house. At night, it's just a wonderful thing because in the daytime, when they come back at dawn, they're cold because they've been hunting all night. So they all get in the top of the box because it's toasty up there. But after baking in the sun all day, they begin to migrate down. And if you shine a flashlight then, you'll see all little faces waiting to go. And it's kind of a fun thing. And then how do you attract them to that box? Well, with the construction going on in this state, the bats are losing all their habitat. So, you know, they will find that box eventually. So it'd be good to put it up. So, and here, how are you gonna get them to come to your yard? Well, you plant night blooming flowers, which now makes you a gardener. That's wonderful. Remember, most white blooming flowers, or night blooming flowers almost always are white, because they're trying to attract all the bugs and things that pollinate them. And, excuse me. So anyways, it's kind of fun, and then your yard smells like a paradise. Because all of the night bloomers emit all of their fragrances at night. Except, you know, maybe honeysuckle does it all the time, but even more at night if you get out there and you walk among the honeysuckles. So that's always a good project too. You know, you put up the box, and hey, if you don't like your neighbor, head it in that direction. Then they'll all go crazy because you put up a bat box and you've attracted all these animals that they don't like. Okay. So sometimes just a little joke or two is a good one.
Oh, yeah, I do have a question.
Yeah.
How do you pick up a bat that is on the ground?
Well, with gloves and just gently.
Do you
Yeah.
like, try
Well,
to
you
let
scoop it,
fly
so-
through your hand, or-
Yeah, well, you scoop it, and so it can't fly away, and have a box ready. And then just put it in the box.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I did happen to bring a couple of bats with me, and so you're gonna get a chance to see them. And, but you know what we can do? I can come around, that's the only way to do it probably. And then everybody could be asking questions.
Done with this?
Yeah, we'll be done with that. Okay, so I have, let me see, I have two just starting out. Oh, I thought this was a little bit cute. What do you think about that? They got blamed for all of the COVID. Remember in the beginning? China said that all the horseshoe bats were the carrier. So I thought, well, I'll just put this on. Now this one is a mom and daughter, and I'm gonna actually take them out, but they don't behave very well. So I might be running up and down the aisle just so you can have a peek. But the other one, you'll have more time, okay? But they're trying to learn how to be the star of the show. Their name is Peggy and Sue. Okay,
You
so.
don't need to wear gloves?
Well, you know what, I know how not to get bit. But I do wear gloves when they first come in. This is a big brown bat. And remember, it's mom and daughter. Well, the bigger one is the daughter. Yeah, and then this one came to me with a split wing, and she gave birth while she was in captivity.
Aw.
And part of the problem now is that the daughter doesn't know how to be a bat. So we have a little problem with that. And she, in the meantime, has got so fond of her mother that I can hear her mother screaming, geez, adopt her out. But So this is very common. This is the big brown, and this is the bat that loves to live in your attic. If you don't have an attic, that's good. Yeah, they do, because all the habitat is being cut down. But one thing I want you to notice is that these bats are very, very clean. They spend 30% of their waking time grooming, and they're always big and shiny. Uh-oh, where you going? See, I told you they don't really behave very good. Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about poop.
What do you want to know?
Yeah. Well, I want you all to know that guano shines in silver from the bugs. And you know, everybody says, well, what's the difference between mouse and bat? And here's the difference. And this may not be for everybody, but if you want to test it, you run it between your fingers, and if it's a bat, it's all crumbly, you know, crumbly is what I'm trying to say. But if it's a mouse, they're omnivores, so they eat grass and everything else, so it's stringy. And then bats, at night, the guano shines. What more could you ask for? That's Sue.
So which is the mother, which is ours? Peggy's the mother?
Okay, the mother is the skinnier one, and the daughter,
I'll say name-wise.
okay, the mother is Peggy,
Okay.
and then the chubbier one is Sue. Well, they get used to flying and stuff like this, and I give them the bat toss out of my bat shed. And every time I tossed her, she crashed. It's always to say, the groceries are too good here and I'm not leaving. Yeah. You'll be able to see the other one as soon as I show everybody. Okay. Never. If anything, they'll try to fly away.
Will her mom ever be able to fly again?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes that the wing is a double membrane, and it has a lot of blood vessels. But sometimes it will grow back and fuse, and other times it won't. So I'm kind of had Peggy for a long time, trying to hope the wing would do that.
Why are they called big brown bats if they're so small?
I know. And you know what? We have one smaller that's called the little brown bat. Well, because everybody has a scientific name, and we use that among.
Are they insect eaters?
Oh, absolutely.
I wasn't sure if they eat nectar or insects or what.
No, and all the bats that live in our state eat bugs. Yeah.
Ours too.
Yeah, but you know, if you go to, like, in the United States, Arizona, New Mexico, a little bit of Texas, have nectar-eating bats as well. Outside of that, all the other bats. Oh, no, yeah.
Are these guys endangered?
I'm sorry, what?
Is this species of bat endangered?
No, absolutely not.
The little brown bat is, right?
On the East Coast
Yeah.
only, not out here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, where you going? Okay, that's a good one.
Like me. Can you hear them making noise?
Yeah. They have a couple of different languages. And one thing, in the maternity colony, there might be 1,000 pups. And so the moms are all gone. So when they're coming back in, they call. And the mom and the pup speak the same language. And she begins to find her pup like that. And then when she gets really close, she smells. And then when she gets really close, she recognizes her very own pup. Out of thousands sometimes. So that's a miracle.
They're making noise right now.
Yeah, Yeah.
I like it. Fussy.
And you know, one is saying to the other, don't step on me and that kind of stuff.
It's cute to watch.
Yeah.
How long do the pups typically live for mothers?
Well, it's supposed to fly at 3 weeks, and then the teaching begins. And then maybe another 2 weeks with the mom. Now, if it's a boy, the minute she takes him out, he's never allowed back in. So, the fatality rate on sons is about 80%.
Wait, where do the males go?
Well, they hang out in bat boxes and bachelor rooms, waiting for the girls to get done. And then the orgy starts in September. So that's how it works. Yeah.
But only the best ones survive.
Huh?
Only the best ones survive. I guess that's not
Absolutely, and that's the truth.
Yeah, that's very
But they all run. Oh, no, this way. Okay. If anybody has any questions, we can be doing as I'm coming around.
Can people hear bat calls?
I'm sorry.
Can people hear bat calls?
In the beginning, when they first zero in on moss or an insect, we can hear it. But the minute they get closer, it goes right out of our hearing range, and we have to use a bat detector. Yeah.
What do they sound like?
But it's a little bit of chirping.
You can kind of hear them sometimes, you just right now.
Yeah,
They're
you
just
get-
arguing in the box.
But that is an echolocation, that's their language. Yeah, echolocation is a little bit different. Oh, look at it, now this whole thing. But I want you to know how clean they are.
Yeah, when they go
Flying foxes, they're in the tropics and areas like that. So, and the largest bat is 6 foot wingspan. Yeah.
But what's the difference? They're all sacred fruits, so what's the difference between them and fruit?
Well, size and habitat and behaviors. Yes.
Are they still considered fruit bats? Are they still considered fruit bats or are they still different?
No, they're completely different. You know, your mouth determines what diet you eat, so they're all different from what they eat. No, it isn't. And that's why I have a little thing up there saying this is not a bat. Yeah.
Are there places you could go to like be able to interact with the volunteer and interact with bats?
No. You know, there's very few people in our state that even rehab bats. You know, but Sabi will take in bats, and then Meg and myself, we're the 2 rehabbers close by. So we do have a few, but you need your vaccinations, and you need some knowledge about bats, because they're the most unique mammals. Yeah. So it looks like there's a great possibility that these Peggy and Sue will be with me forever. Very clean, shiny, huh? Yeah. And not even afraid, it's really. The chocolate nugget. A little nugget. Well, they've been called the wasp. That's the first time I heard nugget. A little chicken nugget. Yeah, okay. The other bat I'm about to bring out, you'll see her up close. So she behaves. You know, a lot of people are surprised when they see a bat up close, how cute it is. Because when you're just seeing a black object fly by in the night, you never get a feel of it. But when you can see them close up, change.
They're little footballs with wings. What's not to love?
Okay, so now we're gonna bring out the silverhaired. One little paper towel and they find a place to hide. I was hoping they'd go up here and hang on, but not to be.
Yeah. I would like to see it.
Okay, we just got one more minute. Okay, so this is a silverhair, and her name is Cleopatra. Okay, let me see if she. It's a good one. You know, I think I'll go from the back this time, okay?
Please don't disturb our security in front of someone the city's gonna come relocate.
Yeah.
Little problem.
I know, and this is one of the uniquenesses, the long wingspan.
Together.
Oh, yeah. You just asked what the natural predator would be of our bats, and number one is man. Number two is all the hawks and raptors. Number three is snakes. Yeah. And poor little things get eaten fast. But there's a lot of raccoons and all of them, given an opportunity, they absolutely. Usually she'll eat, but let's see what she wants. Yeah, she did.
What's his name again?
I'm going to decapitate this.
Is she a baby?
Sorry. Problem with doing the rehab is things that I want. Okay, let's see if she. Usually she'll always eat. Yeah, maybe we could, if everybody would turn, yeah.
What's in her mouth?
A mealworm.
What kind of is she again?
This is a silverhair.
Is she a baby?
Oh no, she's full grown, she's 8 years old, and she was on a sticky tape.
Oh, like
And we ask people, you realize you have to use that sometimes in barns and stuff, but it takes such a simple thing to do is you buy a little chicken wire bendable, make a little cage, the strips in the middle, it saves the birds and the bats. So,
yeah, I've heard that happening before.
oh, it's terrible, sometimes they bring in a strip with 4 chickadees attached, so. So she has a little bit of silver hair, and she has teddy bear ears. I know. She's a really nice bat. If you ever bump into one of these, they're very meek and they don't really try to hiss and skid and scare you.
seen like a picture of really like older
But
birds.
getting her off the
like, 90s,
strip,
where they literally rock
you know, with the
like,
double membrane,
into a hotel
we
complex.
ruined one top hat, so she
I don't know why they did that.
Back then, it was not the same like very big.
I mean, it is in some states.
No. But she's really
Yeah, it's
used
a
to
bad
it.
idea.
She's been doing it.
Why?
Yeah. Okay, so if I came down this aisle, would everybody turn around?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, she is.
Like how they've done the levels.
She's earning her keep, that's for sure. One thing is that they'll never eat those dried up mealworms that you can buy in the pet stores. So, you know, it's not wonderful if you're a mealworm, but that's okay.
Yeah, they won't even get to get you.
Some from last year though, that was really close.
Oh, yeah, oh, okay. I think when you see a live one, it changes your attitude. No.
They have to bite you.
They have to bite you and break the skin with, but the rabies virus is in the saliva. He's been really patient right here. Yeah, absolutely not the next one. Yeah.
Would you like to get a picture with it? We could pose real fast.
Wow, such a little lady.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Well, she is 8 years old, and she's been just a really good representative because it makes you realize that a lot of bats are very calm and they're not all crazy nuts and stuff, you know. So I would be happy to answer any questions. And then we're going to wrap it up, and up there's some pretty good reading with the brochures, and everybody feel free to take one. Okay, way in the back, go ahead.
What is the best way to start a career in bat caretaking?
Okay, first of all, you have to start working with a rehab center. Okay, and then you kind of, you know, you expand out and you begin to call bat rehabbers in your neighborhood, and they get some training with that. And then, what state are you from?
Oregon.
Oh, okay, and then you go to the Department of Wildlife and get a permit. So, but I believe in, I think Oregon is like Washington, that they require 2 years of study under rehabbers. Hey, what she's doing right now is she's shivering. Remember when you wake up and you've been on the blanket wasn't on you? What's the first thing you do to raise your body temperature so you can get going? You shiver, and that raises your body temperature. She's shivering because she wants to take flight, but she can't because her wings damaged. So, anyway, so that's the silverhair, very common. This is one bat that always has, in our state, twins. Yeah. Yeah, most bats only have the one, but what? No, no, they can do it. Yeah. And then we have one other bat the hoary, which is a big bat in our state. And we don't see it very often because it likes old growth. But it has 4 nipples. And it can have four pups. But that's so unusual, yeah.
What is your favorite bat species?
Well, you know, I kind of like these Silverhairs. You know, they got such a cute little face with a, but I also like Townsend's figured bat.
Oh, like a giant
Yeah,
bird, yeah.
yeah,
My favorite's the 110 bat.
yeah. So, you know, everybody can feel free to come and see my stuff, so long as you don't mangle it. And then on your way, there's some stuff here to see. And this is, remember, if you're always looking to buy a present for children, this Stella Luna is the best book. And a lot of times you can find the mom and the pup together. And it makes a great gift. And the book itself is so entertaining.
That was my favorite book too.
Batrick? Did you bring enough for the whole class?
Season